guys, it's your girl Mekaylajene, and what was that?
You're trying to get my legs together.
Oh my goodness.
You know you a star, you can touch the sky. I know that it's hard, but you have to try. If you need advice, let me simplify.
So, babe, let everybody know what the topic is for today.
So the topic for today is, should we live together before marriage?
No. The Christian cookie cutter answer is always no. Like, that's always the baseline answer. It cannot deviate, will never deviate, period.
No.
But what I've learned in my walk, trying to be the best Christian man I can be, is that the things that we set out to do don't always work like we need for them to work. So the first piece I want to make abundantly clear, the shack up is not the sin. Is being in an environment that tempts you to the point to where you can no longer withstand or withhold yourself. You in the house with your man, you in the house with your woman, and you know she walking around here looking like a glazed donut.
You hungry?
And it's you start trying to make a deal, and that promise that you made to God all them years ago about the thing that you never were gonna do again because you knew God's grace and mercy was so amazing, and He would never leave you or forsake you, and I can lay all my burdens on Him. It's like, nah. It's like, God, you have to let me slide a time or two. And it feels like we did slide, but I gotta let, like, whatever you do, any act of disobedience, no matter if it's this small or that big rather, it's always gonna bite you in your butt. And I'm not talking about a cute bite. It's gonna bite you. You have to be mature enough, and your wife or your husband, your spouse has to be mature enough to be able to sit down, to be able to admit where you messed up, where you cut some corners. And you got to deal with that. And as you mature and you communicate better, you're able to laugh about some of it, but you got to do the hard work.
So the reason why we know so much about living together before marriage, we have to admit we did it. So we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend.
And it was miserable for me.
We're going to get into that.
Yeah.
But we weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. We were engaged. So as soon as we got engaged, I moved to North Carolina. And the entire time, when I moved here, George moved here, but he was living with his cousin. So for the first 3 months of this year, he was in and out of his cousin's house. Some nights he would stay here.
Mostly
some nights
out.
he would stay there. Some nights he would stay in his car. Like, he never officially moved in. I did not let him feel like this was his house. I didn't let him feel like this was his home. He was comfortable here. He could bring his stuff here. Nothing. Like, I was not for that. I made George, he kept all his stuff in his back seat and in his trunk. Some nights he was so embarrassed that he didn't want to come stay with me. I was like, you can stay here once a week. Like, that's fine. He would lie to me and say, instead of staying at his cousin's house, he would be sleeping in his car. And I never knew.
It was because, like where we now stay currently, I literally worked 2 minutes away. Like, I had to be at work at 11 at night. I leave the house at 10:59 and get there on time. And it just didn't make a lot of sense for me to drive 40 minutes past where my soon-to-be wife is to my cousin's house to sleep on the couch. It was just like, yo, I might as well just tell her I'm at my cousin's house, turn off my location, and
he
chill
did
right
for
here
a while,
in the parking lot.
until I would check his location. No, one day he came over early in the morning. It was like 6 a.m. and he told on himself. And I was like, why are you here? And he was like, I just wanted to stop by before going to work. I'm like, okay, well, it's really early. Like, why would you come over here this early? And I don't know why. I think I just kept asking him questions. And eventually he was just like, you know what? I haven't been staying at my cousin's house. I've been sleeping in my car because I didn't want to live and stay with you, because prior to engagement, we made a commitment with ourselves that that's something that we do not stand for. Our parents didn't raise us to move in with somebody pre-marriage. And we didn't want that for our relationship. So he chose to lie, and it's okay because,
Thou shalt not lie. But the real thing, though, for me was, like, and I say this with all the love in the world, like, it was hell trying to get comfortable here. First off, my wife's father, he was not. My mama was like, hey, boy, Now, it's a little different with my mama because I'm my mama's son, and she's thinking about safety. So she's like, hey, y'all make it work. And then it's like, with her dad, it's like, no, don't make it work. You figure something. So up until the time that we got married in September, and I literally mean 2 weeks before, I was actively searching for anywhere to stay to where I could just like wind down and get comfortable. Like sleeping on the couch here was the worst. Arguing every day because we knew we weren't in the right place was the worst.
So that just lets you know that, back to the original question, because we weren't supposed to go on our whole little tangent, but should you live before marriage? So we say no, you should not, because one, we've done it as an engaged couple and it came with a lot of challenges. So if you're thinking about it, just be aware that challenges will come. Like arguments are gonna come because you're now in someone else's space. So he came into my space. I bought my apartment for me. So you're coming into my space. You're taking
You bought
up
this
space.
for us.
No, I didn't. You're coming into my space. You're taking up my space. Like you're everywhere I'm at. Like it was just a lot.
And it's prematurely, like that's what made it so uncomfortable for her. She's like, yo, you're not supposed to be here. Like
I don't like it. And then I felt like I was embarrassed. I was very embarrassed because one, I had to tell my homegirls like, yeah, and G staying with me. They think, they're like, oh, okay, girl, that's good. But then I gotta tell my mom and dad. And my mom and dad, I had to like talk to them a certain way. They knew what was up. Like they knew from the jump. Like I know y'all living together. They knew what was up. So having to tell my friends, it was embarrassing.
And for me, it wasn't so much embarrassing. I walked around continuously just feeling like, and I would explain to my homeboys, I'm like, yo, my girl don't love me. I'm like, this girl does not, she not feeling me. Like and they was like, nah, G, like chill. My homeboy was like, hey, like my best man, he was just like, hey, bro, until you get in a position where you can stand on your 2 feet, and she feel comfortable standing on the same platform that you holding up for, he's like, bro, you're not going to be comfortable. And it was the most gruesome thing going through it because I couldn't really tell if she was, like, I couldn't tell if she really cared about me. I was like up and down emotionally, confidence felt small. I was working at a place that I absolutely hated, but I had to do something. I couldn't just be a bum, right? I'm living here. And then on top of that, I had to have somewhere to go. I couldn't just sit around here all day. So, again, circumstances are going to always determine how things play out. As children of God, as those of us who are really committed to trying to serve and really live and be an example, you got to be honest about these things. And I know that this is something that our generation is definitely dealing with. So, when it comes to shacking up, like the old folks say, it cannot help. Like there are some other circumstances that it can alleviate or soothe some of the pain.
Financial circumstances, but it doesn't help. Like I was listening to Steve Harvey. Well, this was like some months ago, and he quoted, I don't know where he got his research from, but he said that 50% of marriages fail whenever people live together prior to marriage, and because we done it, like I could see why it could fail.
Yeah, you see it. Like you begin to see and notice. You like,
yeah. So
I know why.
So for women, I'm letting y'all know. Also, this is from Steve Harvey. I wrote it down. Like I got it. He also said, like, let a man see your potential, but don't give him everything that you have up front. Meaning, don't let him live with you, and then you're cooking for him, cleaning for him. Y'all playing the role of husband and wife. You're just boyfriend and girlfriend, or fiance and fiance. You're not there yet. Right. You're not there yet. You're not married. So don't give him everything that you have. Just let him see it, get a little feel, but no little taste. No, but I take the feel back. Don't be giving no little feels. So no little feels, no little tastes, none of that. Just he can know what your potential is. But once you get that ring, once you say I do, then you can show him what your potential is. Yeah.
So and like I had a lot of worries going into our marriage that I was like, man, I just don't know. A lot of that was my fear because I've hardly stood on my own 2 feet, like financially, for a while because I'm a big risk taker. So there's always this thing that, okay, I can be up, but then I can be down, and it's understanding how to navigate that. But as far as what she's saying is saving a little bit, like my girl turned it on. Like when marriage came, it's like she really turned it on, and there is a distinct difference. Like, so she was extremely strategic about that, and I was worried up until the day we got married, and then the few months after. I'm just like, yo, like, she knew what she was doing.
Yes, like you don't give him everything. You just let him imagine what you have to bring to the table. So to wrap this video up, do we recommend living together? Absolutely no. Like, we don't recommend it. If that's what you choose to do for you and your relationship, then that's what you choose to do. We don't recommend it. We don't think it's the best thing to do. And one more thing too, once you get to that I do, if y'all live together like years, for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, we live together what? Like 6 months?
If cumulatively 6 months.
Probably, I say 5 really. Straight up 5 to 6, but 5 to 6 months. So if you live together prior to marriage, once you get to that marriage date, once he moves in, it's not the same. Like, it's not going to be like, oh my gosh, he's moving in, we live together now, it's so different. No, you've already played house, so you already know what to expect. So when he moved in, we still had that newlywed experience. So preserve that for yourselves. This is me talking to my ladies. If you're thinking about moving in or he's moving in, preserve that feeling for yourself, because it is an important feeling, and it feels amazing to finally move in and be free with your husband.
Exactly.
So, yes. And that note, we're going to wrap this video up. And if y'all have any questions, leave them down below. Any comments, leave them down below. Make sure you hit that bell, turn your notifications on so you get a notification every time we drop another. And until next time, we'll see y'all later. Peace out. Bye.